Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time to hit this video, please don't forget to click the red subscribe button down there so you'll be notified every time I'm going to upload new videos about English. So I actually uh, post different videos about topics and acumen that you can use if you are talking in English. So without further ado, let's get started. So the topic right now would be words about negative words. So negative words that we tend to say if we feel abhor or we feel anger or angry with the people around us. So these are the phrases that you can use if you abhor or you have anger with someone. So when you say call name, it means that you are insulting someone. And I know that even though you're a perfect person, I believe that you can still insult someone. And I know that it's normal, but I would say that you have to abate it. I mean, to lighten up a bit, because I know that it's not really good. It's awful and I would say distasteful, right? So yeah, we still have to balance. I know that not a lot of people will help us or will favor for us because we cannot please everybody. So it's like Facebook, it's like social media wherein there is like and dislike. So that's why I believe that we still have to abate or mitigate our harshness to the people. Well, if someone is kind of rare, like, she looks like a rat, like Kambal sa Uma, so she's Ella. I actually watched this when I was very young. When I was, I think, teenager or 20s, so I used to watch it, and it was so resonated because I'm so melodramatic person. I love to watch, Filipino shows, Filipino TV program like Prime Time, like Teleserie, and so many program that, the ABS-CBN and GB7 would like to offer. But it happened a long time ago because now I'm kind of I buried my interest. I'm now focusing on this thing, which is vlogging. So, yeah, as I mentioned, this vlog is about helping my fellow Filipinos and non-native speakers from Asia to kill their English. So I know that in social media, you cannot really avoid to notice and to see folks that are calling names, because I think that's really the habit of people. So that's why I'd rather stay at home, read books, to be knowledgeable and having a lot of intuition about a certain topic or subject. So if that's the case, for sure, it's going to be productive, and I can also help people if I'm able to acquire and absorb the knowledge that I get or take from the podcasters, from book. But I'm actually less book guy because I prefer like podcasts. I love podcasting. I mean, no, not actually podcasting. I just love to watch podcasting, but I'm not into podcasts because I don't have equipment and people to interview, and I don't know if I can do that. Maybe soon if our child's growing. But now I still have to appeal a lot of audiences in order for us to grow. So if you guys are, favoring me, if you are with me, don't forget to share on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of your social media platforms. You actually tend to say the word or the phrase talk if you are referring to someone, for example, Marites, right? So when you say talk shit, it is saying nasty or offensive words behind your back. You actually talk shit to someone when you are saying offensive words, nasty, harsh words behind his or her back. So you are backstabbing someone. And I know that it's really happening in real life, and that's really normal. And all we've got to do is to accept the truth, find a right person, or right people or friends that you have to network with, or that you want to be with, because at the end of the day, it's really nice to end up with friends that are authentic, real, and you can really rely in times of problems, in times of trials. And I know that real friends could actually, you could consider as real friends if they will help you through good times or bad, from rise and fall of your life. So yeah, that's really the true friend that I would say real and genuine. So also, when it comes to talk shit, it is also happening when it comes to, like, for example, for, I don't know if it is talk shit, because monetizing. Yeah. So I believe that testing is also, I would say, talking shit. So I would say that testing is also part of talking shit. Like for example, you are in a in your, I mean, in a certain place or in a town, and then you have neighbors there, and your neighbors are talking shit about your life. So instead of them paying attention to their lives, how they can survive their daily earnings or necessities in their house or household, but their inclination and interest is hunger for gossiping. And I know that that is very typical for in a community. And I believe that that is also part of talk shit. So you can go wrong with sometimes your neighbor if you end up with wrong neighborhood. So I think it's better to just stay at home rather than being with your neighbors, wherein the tendency or the activities like gossiping, because I know that gossiping will never do any good. So if you're in that situation where you try to gossip the lifestyle or the history of someone, then try to find right people, try to find civilized, formal, nice people, educated people, because they will help you for sure. And that's really a good choice. Word that you can use if you're angry, or if you abhor someone for some reason, is the word bullshitting. But what the heck is bullshitting? So when you say bullshitting, someone is saying words that are not real, words that are, should I say, lie, that people mislead and let their life in jeopardy. For example, you're an online seller and you're selling a beauty soap, and then that beauty soap is, they thought the consumers really effective and would glow their skin, but unfortunately when the consumers tried it on their face, then something happened on their face, and that is really common on social media. We all know that that's happening. I think in KMJS, something like that. And then when she bought a soap from the online seller, unfortunately her face turned horrible. So when that happened, of course it's hard to her part, because she believed that she could really turn into a beautiful face, like goddess looking. But in contrast to that, it happened the other way around. So that is part of bullshitting. Say for example, if you have a lover, and your lover, let's say for example, Jerry, Angel, and Casey. So Jerick and Angel are a couple. And then Jarek tells Angel that Angel would be his forever. Let's say at first they were in a good relationship. They have healthy, let's say healthy relationship, and then they love one another. They don't lie, and for some reason, when Jarek became cold, Jarek unfortunately tried to seek for another female, and that is Casey. So if that's the case, of course, Jarek is bullshitting because Jarek told Angel that Angel is his forever, but unfortunately, as it turned out, Jarek became one womanizer. So he tried to find another girl, just Casey, because perhaps Jarek is over with Angel, and I know that is very normal. I know that if we are over with something, we try to find another one as a replacement for some reason. And I know for a fact that I believe the saying that select, select, and then collect. It means that you have to figure out, you have to assess and weigh up different people that you will meet, or boyfriends or girlfriends, because at the end of the day it's better to find the right person, because I know that you cannot find perfect match in just one try. So as young as you are, I think it's nice to, don't take it seriously, don't take relationships seriously, as long as you're not in the right age. But if you're in the 30s, 35s, age like that, I think that's the perfect time for you to find a guy or your lover, because there's a tendency that this guy will never find another one because he's already like in the right age. So yeah, so that is my advice. So the next word that you have tendency or inclination to say, the phrase trash talk, is really common, and I know that that is a go-to phrase of most of the people. So they tend to trash talk someone if someone does something unpleasant. Let's say for example in a workplace, let's say for example Casey and Angel. So Casey is really good at work. She has a lot of accomplishments. She has a lot of recognitions. She is also promoted. Whereas, let's say Angel is being left behind, because no matter how effort and skills she showcased and impart in a company, still Angel has to, to do a lot of work and effort and time in order for her to outdo and surpass Casey. So if that's the case, I know that indeed Casey, or not Casey, but Angel will get jealous of Casey, because Casey is very successful when it comes to her career, and a lot of the colleagues sympathize her, support her. But on the other hand, Angel is not. Let's say Angel has bad attitude, so that would be a problem, because if Angel is showing bad attitude to her coworkers, so that would cause her to be sad and gloomy, because she'll be alone for the rest of her life. But if she tries to adjust herself, try to mingle, try to go with the flow, appreciate the things that they're doing, big or small, funny or not, if she shares camaraderie, then I think the teamwork would be win-win situation. Because if Angel is not that, if she's always alone and she prefers to be introvert, I know that would cause a gap between, her coworkers or colleagues. So I think it's also nice to come along and to get along despite that you're introvert. You still have to at least participate in different or simple activities, like for example if there's you're gonna go out for picnic or go for mall or going to have drinking session. I think it's better to just give time for your coworkers and colleagues, because if that's the case, then your coworkers will be happy and appreciate your effort and your time that you wasted for them. So if that's the case, then for sure their relationship as co-workers would grow and foster and will be fortunate. And another sad part when it comes to calling name is Heart Evangelista. I'm actually a fan of Heart Evangelista because among celebrities, despite that she's really into fashion, and I know to some people that this is shallow, this is like a surface level because, yeah, she's like fashion. I think you can never go wrong with fashion because it's still helping a lot of people, especially who have less confidence. And I believe that her contribution to that realm is amazing because, yeah, she inspired people who have low self-esteem. And with her vlogs, I think most people can actually acquire stuff, or not actually stuff, but they can acquire techniques and skills the way Hart is showing her abilities, or acumen in so many different ways. And for some reason, some bashers call her name, and I know that it's inevitable because maybe they didn't really like Heart Evangelista because, maybe they will think that Heart Evangelista is bragging. But according to her blog, according to her explanation, it's not about bragging. It's about the way she feels when she's wearing those fancy things, because that is her life and she's not pretending. And there were times that she actually tried to reinvented herself just for the people to like her, but she ended up being herself, being true to herself, and which is being fashionista. And unfortunately, there's a downside of herself being a fashionista, because some people, some bashers look at it as shallow, and that's so sad. But despite that, however, I believe that Heart Evangelista is still a nice woman because she's actually helping people who are in needs, like in Sorsogon. She has, I think, a shelter for animals, and that's one thing I really adore. Heart Evangelista, she's animal lover, and compared to other celebrities who have no advocacies, but I'm not in any way that saying that celebrities have to find their advocacies. But what I mean is that I think she has really good heart because she has advocacy for animals and for less fortunate people. Like, she's able to donate what she has, and I know that she can really slay everything because I believe that if you have a good heart, then for sure you will thrive, you will bring forth fortune. And yeah, and I believe that we can also be successful if we also try to be nice with people. We actually abolish the stigma call names. So instead of saying call names, I think it's genius and brilliant and beautiful and magnificent if we rather compliment people, we sugarcoat our words to people instead of criticizing them. But when it comes to criticizing someone, it's also requisite that when you criticize, it should be criticism in a way that is reasonable, right? That is constructive. So, when it comes to constructive criticism, we actually help them to be a better version of his or herself. So the next word that you can say if you abhor someone or you hate someone is the phrase call names. And I know for a fact that calling name is really inevitable, especially to someone who's really angry, or if someone has experienced bad or worse from the person that he or she dealt with. Like for example, the situation of Chris Brown and Rihanna. So we all know for a fact that Chris Brown being called names. I mean, Chris Brown being called name by the fans of Ree because Chris Brown didn't love Ree, and the worst part there was Chris Brown hit Ree, and I was so felt distasteful because she's a woman, and then Chris Brown didn't respect a woman like Ree, and I know that that is injustice. So of course the tendency is backlash from the fans that that Chris Brown hit Ree for some reason. I don't know what the reason, but I think it's third party. So we all know that it happened in 2007, and I know that Rihanna's world, fall apart or fell apart because I think Chris Brown was her first love, and she poured her life, half of her life to not actually, I think three-fourths of her life with Chris Brown because they were like young. So I think that's the reason why they separated. Maybe they were not meant to each other, and so they actually decoupled. But despite that, I know that Rihanna is okay now. So I'm very thankful because Rihanna was very brave, badass, bold, and fearless. So good thing because she has a personality that is very fighter, despite that she's being abused and insulted by Chris Brown and tainted her life, herself being clean. And I know that that's so bad. So maybe that's also the reason why her album became rebellious too. So I think it's a defense mechanism, and good for Rihanna because despite the trials and predicament that she had faced with Chris Brown and with the adversaries that she had faced, many years ago, she's still surviving. She's laying and killing her job, good job because yeah, she's a businesswoman now. She has her own clothing line, perfume line, and all the lines that she's going to discover and just going to thrive in the future. Next to the list, the phrase that you tend to say if you abhor someone or you pass your limit is the phrase say crap. So I know that say crap is inevitable because no matter how much we control ourselves, sometimes we tend to say craps to a person or to people. Sometimes it is not direct, like in your face, but sometimes it's on social media. Actually, most especially in social media, since they can say that in their faces or they can confront them to say they try to just detour it through social media. So they try to just post mean comments, hateful comments that are destructive. It is very detrimental to, like for example, to celebrities, famous people that even though they are not doing bad or something worse to them, they still try to comment those bad stuff that really unbearable. So but the meaning of say crap is, being worthless. If you feel worthless, sometimes it's really sad that you feel worthless. But actually, that's also one of the reasons why people try to say crap to people because they think that this person is worthless. say for example the man in a family, even though the man is doing good at work, like this man is hardworking, still the wife is not satisfied. Maybe this wife is materialistic, and no matter how much effort and work that this man is doing, to girl it's still not enough, especially if the girl or the female has been used to luxury or kind of fancy stuff or fancy things like high-end stuff. So I think that's possible for a couple, to the couple, if one of them is acting up or someone is not, understanding, and if someone is not satisfied with with the work of whoever is working in a couple. So you also say crap, or you say crappy words to someone if someone is useless. For example, in a family, and if the member of the family, let's say for example, he is let's so let's say for example that this boy, let's say a 20-year-old boy or 25-year-old boy has no job, and the mother is getting annoyed because instead of the 20-year-old boy to look for a job, 20-year-old boy is trying to to make friends or to go anywhere else. It's like this boy is enjoying being young man, right? And I know that with his friends, it's hard for him to avoid his friends because that's part of his growing up. And no matter how much he controlled or to depart from his friends, sometimes they still have to mess up because that's really normal for teenager or 20s to sometimes mess up or do something unpleasant, like if they tend to fight or tend to, yes, to fight with other boys, so that's why if that's the case, the mother's tendency or inclination is to badmouth or say crap about his son, the 20-year-old boy, or because instead of the boy looking for a job, the boy is trying to make friends, chasing after girls, which is, normal. So I think it's okay. It's okay for parents to let their sons mess up sometimes because they can learn from their mistakes. I believe that the more you control your sons to do crazy things, activities, the more he will be rebel. So for them not to rebel, they have to really they should not cage them. They should not imprison them in the house, like to follow their orders, because I think at some point it's also better to give them freedom. Parents are not too strict to their kids. Like, as I mentioned, 20-year-old boy, I think there's a tendency or inclination for that 20-year-old boy to be good, to be responsible son, while doing his thing as a 20-year-old boy. And of course, that is to mingle with his friends, to sometimes do something messy.